Welcome back, my friends, to the D-Rate the Hate podcast. I am Wilk from wilksworld.com, and this is going to be episode 71 of the podcast. This week, we're going to speak again with Average Mohamed. Now, that's Mohamed Ahmed, and he's the creator and executive director of AverageMohamed.com. He is actually our first returning guest to the D-Rate the Hate podcast, and I thought it was fitting based on all the different things that are going on with the approaching of the 20th anniversary of September 11th and the Taliban retaking Afghanistan and just all the stuff that's going on in the world today. I'm incredibly honored again to have our first returning guest, Mohamed Ahmed of AverageMohamed.com. If you didn't catch that episode where we spoke to Mohamed first, step back and check out episode 49, another can't-miss episode of the D-Rate the Hate podcast. Now, first things first. We did not create the hate, but with your help, we can derate the hate. It's all about bettering the world one attitude at a time, and that starts with us as individuals. What have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? Again, it's us as individuals that can make that happen. What are you doing to make that happen? Now, Mohamed Ahmed of AverageMohamed.com is working diligently, tirelessly, to help de-radicalize and bring down extremists through education. It takes an idea to defeat an idea, and there's no better person to explain that than Average Mohamed himself. No use wasting any more time. Let's jump right into this conversation. Mohamed Ahmed, the infamous Average Mohamed. How are you, man? Welcome back to the D-Rate the Hate podcast.
Thank you, Wilk. You're a good man.
So good to see you again, my friend. And so much has happened over the past 6 months since we last spoke. I think it was episode 49 was the first time we spoke on the D-Rate the Hate podcast. Got a big impact in that one. I think we're going to look for a bigger impact with this one. So, Mohamed, I noticed you have a new video out. And we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of September 11th and the tragic events of September 11th for the United States of America. But that new video that you have out, it explains a lot more than just September 11th. So why don't you talk about the new video you just put out?
Well, first and foremost, it's been 20 years since 3,000 of our fellow citizens got murdered in cold blood. In daylight. New York got attacked, Pentagon got attacked, our soldiers got attacked, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, they resisted and they died in the process. Now, we are sending our prayers to the lost souls on that day from 90 countries. And we created a video to commemorate September 11th anniversary because there's a generation that is growing up in America today that has no recollection of the event and how it impacted our lives. You have to understand, we went through airports without taking off our shoes.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know any different.
They don't know. It's natural now. It's natural. Yeah. They think the way things are in airports now are the way they've always been. And obviously, you and I have both seen, and most of our anybody over 20 years old, they remember a much different time. It was a much different world than back before September 11th, wasn't it, Mohamed?
Yes, I used to live in Northern Virginia. Washington, D.C. is one of the most beautifulest cities in the world. Today, it's ugly. The reason why is because of all those fences and anti-bomb mechanisms put in place. I mean, it looks like a security zone, like a green zone in Baghdad now, not an open city anymore. I mean, our city, our capital was open. And if you go to downtown to any federal installation or go to any federal institution now, they look like as if it's an exclusion zone. Nobody's allowed in. I mean, there's no openness anymore because they have to protect themselves. We've lost a lot. Our democracy lost a lot. We lost citizens. But More importantly, we lost our innocence.
Right. And that did. It really destroyed it. And you put it in such a good way. We really lost our innocence when there were. It didn't take but a handful of people. In retrospect, it didn't take but a handful of people to do an insurmountable amount of damage to our freedom. They with what they did, and with box cutters and an ideology of hatred, they put together a plan that really took the most powerful nation in the world to its knees, didn't they, Mohammed?
Yes, they did. And we went to war with it in Iraq, Afghanistan, and now we're in over 95 countries, fighting in almost 20 countries right now as we speak, from sub-Saharan Africa to Asia. We're helping people try to defeat them and the ideology. The ideology spread. The ideology went from a handful of people based in Afghanistan to today being a global movement.
Right, right. Well, I do want to talk a little bit about Afghanistan, being that that's a very, very touchy subject right now, to say the very least. This week, it's absolutely insane what's going on in Afghanistan. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit more about your video and who are the Kawaris?
Well, we made two videos, one to commemorate September 11th for America. It's a gift to America from Average Mohamed organization to remind us, because we remember. It's important we remember. And the second video is us going bullish on this issue of anti-extremism. If you look at the world today, there's doom and gloom. They are winning, we are losing, things are going to get worse. And I'm like, no, let's go after this ideology. And the Khawarij was an organization formed right after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they were terrorists. What they did is they started attacking caravans and started attacking people because they were looking for plunder, and at the same time too they were looking for power. And they called anybody who disagreed with them apostates, or people killing civilians, innocent women, children. I mean, things of those sort was acceptable to them. Now, the alienation of Islam, the beginning founding fathers, it came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our God. But the people who were the Ummah, the society at that time, they fought against it and they won. They won. And Islam became a little bit different because of that. And what happens is, if you look at today, the ideology of extremism, the ideology of the terrorist, they say kill women, children, innocent women, children, and old people, and anybody, just about anybody who disagrees with them, in any society that disagrees with them. And the reason why is because they're using terror. Terror is there too. And they feel that if they kill enough of us, we will run and cut and basically give up our values, our freedoms, our liberties, our rights.
And I think that's becoming very evident in Afghanistan today, with how easily the newly placed Afghan government, and I don't want to even say newly placed. I mean, it's been in place for a while, but it was basically a house of cards, a paper tiger held up by the United States. Unfortunately, how would you say the Khawarij, and I hope I'm saying that right, but how would you say they mount up to the Taliban, and how the Taliban operates in Afghanistan today?
Well, we're talking about terrorists here, and we're talking about people who use terror. We say no to terror, and we say yes, we've seen them before and we've defeated them before. And again, we are urging Muslims to do the same thing, and we use examples. Why do we call them Khawarij? Why we use examples of their attacks all across the world? It's not just America on September 11 that got affected. I mean, almost every nation that has a Muslim population has been affected. And every nation that even doesn't have a Muslim population gets affected. And what we're saying is, ideologically, this concept and this value has spread. It has spread globally. And our goal here is, we believe in Average Mohammed organization, as our mantra says so. It takes an idea to defeat an idea. And our goal is to furnish democracies and republics with ideas. Cheap, easy to use, easy to understand, easy to comprehend, and easy to propagate ideas. In other words, we are fighting for minds. I don't say hearts. There's a reason why I don't say hearts. Because if you can watch Afghanistan today, you will learn one thing. We got the minds. The people want American-style democracy, but we didn't get the hearts.
You're so right. When America was founded, we were founded upon an idea, and an idea that the average individual could be anything that they wanted to be. And we were the first country ever founded on the idea of freedom. And it's been ingrained in our DNA, and so many people over the history of our country have fought and they've died for and they've raised their children to believe in, and they've done so much. That's why I think I love your message so much, Mohammed, is using an idea to defeat an ideology, because you're right. If you don't get the hearts of the people, if you don't get the hearts of the people, if they don't have it within them to stand up and fight. I mean, you look back at the founding and the revolution of the colonies that then became the United States. We were outmatched, outgunned, outmanned in every aspect of warfare at the time. There was no chance in hell that the colonists of the United States, well, pre-United States, there was no chance that the colonists had of beating the mighty England. And they had the heart to fight. They had the heart to do it. And you're right. The people have to have the heart. And without having the heart, if you just get the minds, like you're talking about in Afghanistan, if they don't have the heart to fight, if they don't have the heart to stand up, they can't defeat the Taliban. Even though they've got more people, they've got more power, they can't beat them if they don't have the heart to beat the Taliban.
Well, yeah, you see, I look at global perspectives and I look at strategic interest of America. It was not in our interest to stay there forever. Every American will agree with me on that one, because that's their country, not our country.
Absolutely.
That's their country. Their destiny lies in their hands and not in our hands. Now, $2 trillion later, 2,348 of our most precious commodity, the blood of our soldiers, dead. And over 1,000 or to 3,000 contractors, dead. Over 66,000 Afghani soldiers dead. Over 60,000 Taliban dead. We decided, you know what? There's an easy way to fight this process. And hats off. We knew this 10 years ago. I mean, people who kept up with this information, we kind of saw it coming 10 years ago under Obama. I mean, and Biden just executed it. Unfortunately, the exit strategy is looking really ugly.
Yeah, it's very bungled up. Very bungled up.
The fact that our citizens are still there, even though our soldiers left, most of it, and now we're going back, is distressful, because the most important commodity we have in a democracy is our citizens. So we want them back, and we pray for that, and we pray for the success of the Biden administration for this reason and this reason alone. Plus also the people who put their mettle with us, people who risk their lives for us, people who spent 20 years taking our foreign policy goals and our flag and our ideals and our values forward. Afghanis, we owe a loyalty to them. And the reason why is because we have honor. America is an honorable country. Without honor, we are nothing. We are lost as a people. So we need those people too. And it's important we get them back. So most importantly, the third part is Taliban took over Afghanistan. We're saying, let's go after the ideology. We created the Khawarij video to do just that globally. Because what's happening right now is there's an avalanche, because I keep track of these things, an avalanche of messaging coming from extremist terrorists saying we can be defeated. We democracies can be defeated. We will cut and run if they're persistent and resilient.
Yeah, and I think you and I both know that that's not true. And like I said, I think we've got the right idea on our side. I think we've got the heart and the soul on our side. It's just a matter of executing the plan the right way. And let's talk more about your message, Mohamed, with Average Mohamed and what you've had going on. You know, we talked back in episode 49 about an idea to beat. It takes an idea to defeat an idea, and Parents for Peace. But why don't we talk more about what the latest is with your organization and how things are going with that?
Well, good news. We had a message about the caliphate, which we created, and basically relabeling terrorist organization ISIS, because they call themselves a caliphate. If you know anything about the caliphate, it's Ali Islam, means Ali Islam society was structured around that. And our goal is to say, look, this is not a caliphate that they're trying to bring back, but it's a caliphate. It's a fake. So don't buy into it. And we promoted, thanks to Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg organization, which gave us advertisement credits in 5 states. We reached over 266,000 people just in 5 states, Muslims in 5 states. And we reached over 75,000 on Instagram. And thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. Thank you, Facebook. They put up. It cost only 3 cents to disseminate this message. Think about that for a second. Only 3 cents to disseminate that message. And we created this Khawarij video along the same theme. And the main theme is these extremists are wrapping themselves around the language of Islam. They're wrapping themselves along my beautiful, noble religion. Overwhelming majority of Muslims around the world don't believe in what they believe in. So how do we counter their religious rhetoric with our own religious rhetoric? And I'm not an imam, not a sheikh, but I know Islamic history. And more importantly, I understand the context of messaging. So we created this Khawarij message to say, look, let's call them what they are. People who are outside society, extreme. And let's go for minds. The hearts belong to Allah. I'm not going to go into a religious debate, but more importantly, we are labeling them. The same way they label us Muslims who believe in democracy over theocracy as apostates, and they mock us, and they want to kill us, and I get death threats for it. But more importantly, our goal is to say, look, if you are going to go in this route, we will get your kids, because that is the best way to fight. That's what we're asking our government to do today. After 20 years, we're asking them, put us Muslims in. Let us go out there and do what we need to do. Don't tell us what to do, because you've been telling us for 20 years and it hasn't worked to the way we want it. You know, put us in. Give average Mohamed access to equal opportunity and access to resources. You are our heroes. We are your champions. Put us in.
Yeah, put you in. Get the job done. I mean, you know what the message needs to be. I really like something that you put out recently. You said you become a killer, you'll get killed, or you'll end up in prison. And you know, that really speaks to the minds of the young people, because the one young man in the video that you were speaking with came back home, didn't want to be a suicide bomber, came back home, and now gets to spend the rest of his life in prison. He thought he knew what he wanted, but realized that it wasn't the dream that they were portraying it to be. Isn't that correct?
That is so correct. You either will be killed, or end up in jail if you become a terrorist and an extremist. There is no other way out. They don't see you as anything but cannon fodder, people to be used and abused. And the dream they're selling doesn't work. I mean, these people are pushing us back historically.
Right.
From women's rights, which is human rights, to gay rights, to many other issues along the lines. I mean, we're moving progressively in this world. Humanity is moving to a place where we're getting to a point whereby it's freedom for all. And they say no. I'm watching Taliban do an amazing public relations campaign right now, talking about, we will guarantee women's rights. Please.
Yeah, when's the last time the Taliban did anything for women? I mean, when they took over in the
90s, and what they did, they basically locked down all women, literally locked down. Picked them, told them to cover up completely. I mean, completely. I mean, you're not to be seen, heard, or even smelled.
When we think about extremism, and you know, the talking heads here in the United States nowadays like to talk an awful lot about white nationalism and white supremacy and systemic racism here in the United States, which you know, you and I may disagree to a certain extent, but I certainly don't believe that's the number one issue of the day here, though people try to make it to be. Actually, I just had a mutual friend of ours on the podcast recently, Jeff Scoop, who is a former white nationalist and former neo-Nazi turned counter-extremism expert, and he was talking about how the National Socialist movement tries to draw people in through fear, and tries to build up the strength and the hatred within people through a sense of fear. What is it? I know your message in talking to the young folks about countering extremism, and how you work. What is the draw for a young Muslim to join the caliphate? What is that draw? How do they try to entice the young Muslim? How is that a lie? Because we know it's a lie. We know the things that they use to draw them in, just like the white nationalists and the Nazis, use lies to draw them in. What are the lies that they're using to draw in the young Muslims?
Well, it's a complicated question with a complicated answer. So please give me some time here. Let's start with push and pull factors. Push factors. They're looking for identity. Confused. Maybe ex-gangbangers, maybe new convert. They're looking for people who just found religion, or people who just basically are revolutionaries in their mind, and they're looking for a new world order. So they're looking for identity, something to associate with. And extremists create an identity for you. They call you a mujahid, which is a very powerful word. Mujahid means a fighter for the sake of God. And that's a very powerful name and a powerful history to it. I mean, all the heroes of Islam are mujahids. From early Islam, including our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then there is other factors too. People who seek heaven and they seek a new world order. When they seek a new world order, they're jaded by this world. They look at this world as it is, and they don't like the fact that people are diverse. They don't like the fact that a Christian is exercising his right of freedom of religion, or a Buddhist, or a Hindu, or a gay person is free to live in freedom and liberties, or the fact that women are allowed to become anything they want to become, as their rights should be, and do anything they want to do. These are things which misogyny is deeply ingrained in this process. Other factors include grievances, whether it's our foreign policy or whether it's dictators who are running societies in their countries with less freedoms and rights, and they want to upturn the system. Again, the second part is they find a network, and the network basically galvanizes them with messages that they dig into, books, writings, scholars, ideas, videos, all things coming at these kids at this particular moment to indoctrinate them into this process. By the time the kid comes out from one end to the other end, they go from trying to discover the world to becoming a full-fledged violent jihadi extremist. And when they become a violent jihadi extremist, there's only three options now. Option number one, de-radicalization, which there's hope there. Bring them down to a peg, what Jeff Shook does with Beyond Barriers for white supremacists. The second option would be law enforcement. And when I say law enforcement, I mean here in America, we talk about our heroes here who intercept them, stop them from blowing us up, killing us up, or trying to destroy society. We talk about our FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, our Department of Homeland Security, our Department of Justice, our Treasury Department, which goes after their money, the State Department will make sure they don't come into our country. I mean, our Border Patrol, which controls our border. That used to be, at least not anymore. But our ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement agencies. I mean, these people are our front line. And the third part is the community, the public. This is where we come in. We galvanize the public to say, look, if you see something, say something. If you hear something, say something. If you think something is odd, say something. And this is what our messaging campaign is all about. If you look at the Khawarij message, it's meant for universally the whole world, because we cover the world. And the world, we're telling the world, especially our youths, if you see something, say something. Save a life.
Yeah. I think it's a very important message to make sure people, because it is the people on the ground. It's our government can only do so much. Those government agencies, especially when they get bogged down doing things that they have no business doing. But the people of this country, and I'm talking about all the people of this country. I'm talking about Muslims, Christians, atheists, Jews, whatever, Buddhists. Everybody has to be aware. Everybody at this point has to keep their head on a swivel. And if they do see something, because you're right, with the border crisis and the fact that the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and them, they really have their hands tied. We have people coming in unfiltered, and unfiltered people can bring all kinds of nastiness, and we have to be careful. So it's people like you, Mohamed, with Average Mohamed, doing incredible work with your videos, with your outreach to the children, with your Parents to Peace program, just really getting in touch and making sure that the people, if they do see something, they say something. And I know that can be a scary thing for people. Quite honestly, it takes bravery to stand up and speak out against bloodthirsty terrorists and extremists. And I don't just mean Muslim extremists or Islamic extremists or white nationalists, but extremists of any kind. It's the people that really need to speak up and get their word out and say something when they see something.
Well, you talked about white supremacy and how it's a problem in this country. It is a problem, but the way we're going about it, we're seeing a deja vu. Let me explain what I mean by deja vu. September 11 happened, and we Muslims got blamed as a threat. I mean, we got painted as a threat by media, politicians. I mean, you name it. Nobody refrained from labeling us as a threat. Islam was made the enemy. Islam, the religion, was made the enemy. And look what it got us today.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We're seeing the same thing happening to our white community. And I wrote a paper about it. White people are not the problem, they're the solution. Let me explain again what I mean. If you say an angry white man is now a terrorist, please, come on, man.
Right?
It was angry white men who picked up guns, who kicked out a king, for God's sakes.
You're exactly right.
It is angry white men who went to Iwo Jima, who went to Hamburg, who went to Berlin, to kick out Nazis and fascists.
Yep.
It was angry white men who went to Afghanistan and Iraq. Yep. We need angry white men.
Right. You're exactly right. And that, when I talked to Jeff Scoop a while back, and we had that conversation about, how do we reach those that have become extremists, and how do we get them to not be extremists anymore? And at some point you've got to sit down and have a conversation. And I like the fact that you target youth and look to get them before they become extremists, and that's very important. But we also cannot discount the fact that once somebody has reached that point of extremism, and you talked about it when you talked about your first of 3 points, that de-radicalization, which definitely can be a more difficult road, but to de-radicalize, we don't want it to get to the point of guns and bullets and prisons and executions. I would just as soon de-radicalize everybody, and that's obviously why I do this podcast. It's really about changing the minds, helping people become better people. And the same thing with you, using an idea to defeat an idea. And I think what you're doing is incredibly important, Mohamed. And talk a little bit real quick. Just give me some quick points on how people can get involved with Average Mohamed. What can they do to become? I mean, we know the see something, say something part. We know spreading the cartoons and everything else. What can people do to help Average Mohamed get to the people, get to those that need to be de-radicalized before it's too late?
A couple of things. Number one, invite me. I'll be speaking in your community, speaking to your community, because we go into mosques, synagogues, churches, we go into civic arenas, we go to madrasa, Islamic schools. And we are open. Our policy is open doors to any human being who wants to basically learn and learn how to go about talking about this issue without offending. For 7 years, we've done this work, and we've not culturally offended anybody. In fact, the only people who are offended are jihadists. So that's a good thing.
That's a good one to offend.
So because we're effectively frustrating their work, and we're winning in this arena, even though in other arenas we're not doing so good, and it's in terms of Average Mohamed organization. And the second part is I'm looking for people who can amplify our message. If you have a YouTube page, go to Average Mohamed, take a video, share it. If you have a social media website, take Average Mohamed video, share it. You never know who you could be saving life from. You never know who needs to hear that message. And we're willing to work with you. And the third part is it costs 3 cents to disseminate this message. We're telling our government, and we're talking to all agencies. I've reached out to the soldiers, our army, our military, Pentagon, Africa Command. I've reached out to the State Department. I've reached out to the Department of Homeland Security. I'm going to reach out to the White House, and eventually we're going to reach out to every politician here in America. And our goal is simple. We're telling them, look, give us 3 cents. A bullet costs 80 cents. For that price of that one bullet, I can reach 26 Muslim kids.
Nice.
Give us 3 cents so we can go to work. Put in as Muslims, give us equal opportunity because we're not getting it, and give us access to resources. We are the ones who stand to lose the most because these people are going to subjugate us Muslims first before they come for the world next. So we are your front line. We are the ones who you should be sending back as your ambassadors. As 2020 Citizen Diplomat of the Year for the State Department, I know what I'm talking about because the State Department knows diplomacy, and they made me their Citizen Diplomat of the Year. Trust us on these factors. We are good at this work, but we need to be amplified too. And if you work in government, please help us because angels at every step of our history of this country have stepped in, broken down doors or opened down doors, and we're knocking on these doors. Open these doors, give us access to resources and equal opportunity, and let us go forward. We are Americans. We stand tall, we stand proud, and for God's sakes, this is our world.
Such a good ending to such a great conversation, Mohamed. I so much appreciate your time, as always. I appreciate the fact that we get to chat back and forth once in a while, and thank you for being the. Actually, I think you're the first return guest on the D-Rate the Hate podcast. So that's fantastic, and I look forward to the next time we do this. Keep praying, keep doing everything that you're doing, keep reaching out, keep changing the minds and get a hold of the hearts of these youngsters before the jihadis do, and keep doing everything you're doing to stamp out extremism. You're doing great, Mohamed, and everybody check out averagemohamed.com.
Thank you, Will.
All right, take care, brother.
Thank you.
Friends, I have said it before, and I will say it again. I am one incredibly lucky and incredibly grateful man for having the opportunity to speak with the people I do on this podcast. You see, it's really, what can we do as individuals to make this world a better place? And the people that I get on this podcast are doing incredible things. Like Mohamed is doing everything he can to help de-radicalize, help make sure young Muslims all over the world are not out there becoming jihadists and terrorists and people like the Khawaji doing damage to us as a humanity. And he speaks to the people plainly, and it's an incredible thing, and I am so honored and so grateful for having the opportunity to speak with him and all the people I get to speak with on this podcast, because there are forces out there that want to keep us divided. There are forces out there that like the chaos, they like the hate, they like the damage that these groups do, and it gives them a sense of purpose to constantly fan the flames of hate and division, just to keep this cycle and this toxic perpetual cycle of hatred going. And I would rather be on the side of and stand shoulder to shoulder with those folks like Average Mohamed and Jeff Scoop and people that are actually out there trying to de-radicalize and de-escalate the situation before it becomes out of control, before those people become the next mosque shooter or the next synagogue shooter or the next person that maybe blows themselves up in a theater or a cafe or a bus somewhere. We've got a choice. We've got a choice to make, people. We can derate the hate, like I'm trying to do with this podcast, or you can perpetuate the hate, like a lot of these others do. I think it's an easy choice. So what have you done today to make your life a better life? What have you done today to make the world a better place? It's all about all of us. Let's get it done. Let's make it happen. Let's get out there. Be kind to one another. Be grateful for everything that you've got. And remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. I'm Wilk. Email me, wilk@wilksworld.com. Follow us on most social media platforms. Follow us on our websites. And make sure to share us with your friends. Don't forget to leave us some feedback and a rating wherever you get your audio. And with that, I'm going to back on out of here. We'll catch you next week.